Let me bring Robert into the conversation. I mean, Rob, like Sanusi said, you're leading some of these programs, and what is going on in Collab. What has been the challenge? I mean, because I'm not sure it's been a stroll in the park. Uh, even in Lagos here, it's not that easy. What's been the challenge, if there is
Uh,
any?
well, yeah, there are obviously a few challenges. We don't know how to rank them, but we generally group them. We've got infrastructure challenges, electricity being one, the internet being the other. We've also got foundational challenges, which is the educational system. So when you look at how things are taught to people around the world, there's a general assumption as to what people should have learned by the time that they're at a certain level. For us here, we find that we're constantly going back and forth, having to teach people the foundations that they should have learned, say, 5 or 10 years ago. So if you look at these three, those are maybe the primary challenges beyond other things like the ease of doing business.
All right. So, he talked about challenges, that they're facing. But one thing that Sanusi also talked about, is about the media, being,
Legal centric.
yeah, legal centric. Thanks for helping me out. But but the thing is, in this age with social media, isn't that another way of pushing out these stories?
Yeah, so I think Sanusi's and the Collab team are actually doing a great job,
Yeah.
Using social media to tell their stories. I mean, if you don't tell your stories, no one will tell the stories for you. And it's doing a good job with telling the stories on Twitter. And then we're able to know, a lot of us are able to know what is happening in Kaduna. And then we're looking forward to going to Kaduna. When you go to Kaduna, you want to visit Collab, you want to take a picture, you want to see what's going on. And I think that social media is kind of bigger. I'm sorry. I mean, we're in a traditional media outfit right now, but it's kind of bigger, and then the reach is and the audience is wider than the traditional media. So I think,
That's debatable.
okay, I mean,
Go ahead, yeah.
for me, I can measure the reach of my social media reach and all that. So I think using social media, Twitter, Facebook, investors can easily see your work, and then if you tell your stories in a very compelling way. I when I came here, I was telling Sanusi that I haven't met him before, but I see the work that he's doing with the collabing with Collab, and then a whole lot of the other hubs in the north, like NUB. I haven't been to Jos, but I know the work NUB is doing. They're updating their Twitter platforms. They're on this tech blog or the other tech blog. So yes, the traditional media has to be more flexible and then look outside Lagos.
All right, Robert. You talked about earlier. You earlier talked about some of these challenges that you face on a daily basis. Doing your stuff at Collab. How do we surmount these challenges? So being legal centric, like Sanusi said, is one of those challenges, and perhaps that's why we don't hear all those stories. But what other ways do you think we can go through to surmount some of these challenges that you just mentioned earlier on?
Well, we're trying to tackle these problems from the foundation. There's only so much you can do about electricity beyond buying power generators, batteries, and inverters, for example. We can't really wait for that problem to be solved nationwide or even statewide. Uh, for the foundation, we're doing a lot of work uh, with tutorials, holding meetups, educating the general population. We're even close to releasing some form of curriculum that will guide anyone who's interested in some of these technological areas and the study paths. So for us, we're really trying to fill in the gap that we've observed in the sector.
All right. So just not too long ago, I was reading on social media, how security officers, people working in Computer Village, are joining or are making that transition from their, jobs, into the tech ecosystem with Andala, So what kind of people, because I mean, you don't really need to have a background, so to speak. There's no certification, so to speak. Maybe SSC or BSc, HND or OND. I mean, anyone can make that transition into technology. I mean, so we've heard stories of how people, being security guards, and then they're now, joining Andela to work on their own stuff as well. So, do we have those kind of stories? How interested are people, in Kaduna to, be a part of what is going on, in the tech ecosystem and, join Collab to make something out for themselves?
One of the most interesting ones for me was this 15. Well, a couple of months ago, when he was still 14, he sent me a message just randomly on Facebook, and was telling me about programming, but it was hard. There was no light at home. His computer was a desktop, so as soon as light was gone, he couldn't read and stuff. And I was like, you know what? Come around. He came around. I talked to him. I went on social media and asked, anyone that had an old laptop, that was still serviceable, to donate to the kid. They did. And fast forward a few months, the guy is now a technical writer for a national company, and he gets paid about $300 per article.
Whoa.
Wow.
Note that I say he's 15.
Whoa.
He's 15, right? So that's one story.
Yeah, it was a bit difficult to hear you there, but just hold your thoughts for a second. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back in a moment to continue this discussion. Please stay with us.